maybe live. Wait just a second for the little thing to stop spinning. There we go. There we go. Live. Here I am, unexpectedly live on a Tuesday morning, at least this morning where I am. And I've been thinking about a lot of really interesting things. And I wanted to go live this morning to talk to you about what I'm thinking about and to give you some little snippets of it. So people tend to have the notion that healing, and I don't like the word healing, but that healing is an event, that it's like being struck by lightning. And it's not. It doesn't work that way. And I like to help people. That's a part of my job, is to help those of you who are experiencing physical pain and chronic things to see this as a journey, not that you're all of a sudden going to be, whew, because it doesn't usually happen that way for most of us. And the other thing, I truly, I can use this as an example. Years ago, I did some work with a fellow who was having some terrible lower back pain. And in just a very few minutes, I mean, he was like this. I could see that, pain was gone. It didn't take long. The pain is usually the easy part. And he stood up, moved around. He's like, oh my gosh, this is great. So am I cured? Am I healed? I laughed and I said, well, yes and no. I said, honestly, we cleared out emotional things from your lower back. That's why you feel better. That's why the pain is gone. But here's my question for you. Are you going to keep breathing? And this guy kind of looked at me. He said, well, yeah. And I said, okay, then there's deeper work to be done, because you're going to continue to experience the same emotions out there in the world in your regular life that caused that, that you held on to, that caused that lower back pain. And unless we go in and do the work to actually change that pattern, then you will probably have it come back. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about core issues, but that I want people to see it as a journey. And it's a journey of feeling better. It's a journey of letting go of the things that no longer serve you. So I've had a lot of questions about core issues. And I'm going to talk more. I'm going to just touch on some of these things here with you in this group. I am going to be taking a deep dive into all of these things in Breakthrough, in my new group. So if taking a deeper dive with me is something that feels good to you, that you're interested in, I'm going to post the information above this. And this may be enough for you. It's up to you. It's just an invitation, because I'm going to continue talking about these things. So the next thing is that people want to know why they're having this pain or issue. Why? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And I had it too. Hey, I'm with you. I remember it very clearly. I remember being in my 20s and in my 30s with terrible back pain and hip pain and migraines and all of that stuff, and going, why is this happening? I was young, I was really healthy, I was in great shape, I had a regular yoga practice, and I had chronic pain. And I wanted to know why. And it was not until I began looking at the emotional stuff underneath it. And my story is on my website. I didn't really want to look at anything either. I had other things going on as well, and you may too. Because I was psychic, clairvoyant, and a medium, and I didn't want to be any of those things. I did not. I just want to be normal. It is not cool to be those things when you're a little kid. Um, I didn't want to be who I was. And in 2002, I had a thing happen with my back that caused me to have to spend a week in bed, just a week, and I couldn't do anything. And so I finally said, okay, I'm willing to look at this. I surrender, I give up. Okay. And God's, this was a God talk. And it wasn't that I gave up so much as that I learned to just surrender with this. I said, okay, I'll do whatever it is you want me to do. I'll be whoever you want me to be. Just show me what you want me to do here. Now, you may think that this was some big healing event. I immediately felt better. I did not. It was a big event. It was a profoundly moving spiritual experience, but I still had the back stuff. I still had the mic. All of that was still here until I began to develop the tools and use my knowledge to look underneath the pain, underneath all of this stuff. And that's where core issues come in. And I've got a new talk that I'm going to do in my new group. And I'll give you the start of it, just the start of it here. And I've talked a little bit about this before. Having a chronic health issue or pain is like pushing a rock up a hill. And you can even liken this to chronic relationship issues because it's kind of the same thing. That's how we experience ourselves as human. But you're pushing this heavy rock up a hill. And you've been pushing it for a long time. And it takes a fair amount of energy to push that rock up the hill. But after you do it for a while, you stop to really be able to appreciate how much energy it's taking. You're used to doing it, and so you just keep doing it. And in terms of pain, the very first thing we do is help you set down the rock. You can set it down. It's not that hard. And your pain level is going to drop. And we do that on these lives. And, I'm doing even more of it in my group, in Breakthrough. That is a deeper dive, guys. It just is. So you set down the pain, stop pushing the rock. Are you done? Oh, you're not even close. We're just getting started, because if we don't go in and do the deeper work that you need underneath that, the deeper emotional work, really deeper, because you're used to pushing that rock up a hill, you will go find another rock. I guarantee it. And if you don't believe me, think about people, and you may be one of them, maybe not, but think about people who go from one relationship to the next. And it's almost like they're with the same person, just a different body. They've got all the same problems, the same control issues, the same blah, 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 all that stuff. They're pushing rock. It's just a really good example of it. So the next work is to help you let go of the need to push a rock up a hill. But then there's more. There's way more. Because the next question after that, and it is my job in the world to ask questions about why stuff's happening. Why do you have a need to push that rock up the hill? Why? It's an interesting answer. It's a long, cool, interesting conversation that I'm going to be having in Breakthrough with my Breakthrough members. And I would invite you, if this is something that interests you, there's live work in that group on Zoom where we can see and hear each other. And this is going to be a much deeper dive into why these things are happening. And I want you to know, before I close out this live, I want you to know that none of these things, none of these causes, none of the underlying causes of your pain or issue are your fault. They're not your fault. I'm not one of those who suggests that you created this illness. Doing that puts you immediately into judgment and blame. And that's awful. Those are terribly disempowering things. Um, and and that's not what's happening at all. That's not the spiritual thing that I see happening. So I don't want anyone out there to be going, oh my God, I caused this. Taking responsibility for feeling better, yes, but it's a fine line. And if something is throwing you into that judgment or blame of yourself or others, come back here and get quiet and let go of that. Be gentle with yourself. You are an enormously powerful eternal being. And I want to help you find the ways that are already in you, and it's already in there, for you to feel better. That's my job. So, thank you for listening to me today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Mwah.